What's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Woosah Wednesday. You guys already know what this is. This is Queen Sugar Season 2, Episode 10, Drums at Dusk. You guys, I am dog tired. Oh my goodness, it was a good episode. Y'all say hello to my little honey baby in the background there. Wave at him, honey baby. You don't have to do it with the cookie in your mouth. Later, put the kibosh on the cookie container because it was so loud. It's raining here. There's a tropical storm. We're in the hotel before we go to the port. So I said, let me see if I can crank out this video. I already know I'm not going to be able to do any editing. Um, so I'm going to try to make this a very, very short, concise video and just try to nutshell everything up for you guys. First and foremost, this is a really, really good episode. We learned a lot about not only Charley, but Darla, the relationship between Aunt Vi and Lorna, who is Charley's mom. That's pretty crazy. I can't wait to see how all that rolls out. So what I decided I would do instead of going blow by blow is to give you guys my two MVPs for this episode and my shining star. Um, and hopefully, in those two or three conversations, we can sort of touch bases on everything that happened in this episode. Before we get going really, really good, if you are not already a subscriber to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Remember to give me a thumbs up. It's important out here on these YouTube streets, as well as comment down below. I cannot wait to get on the ship and chill before it leaves port and just start um, reading all you guys' comments from last episode, which was Tuesday night's episode, as well as Wednesday's episode. So I'm excited. Okay, so my first MVP for episode 10, Drums at Dusk, is Darla. I think Darla just really, really broke out in this episode. And I know I've had my concerns about Darla being possibly a Landry. And I think even if it turns out that she is a Landry, I'm still going to ride for Darla. I'm still going to be Team Darla because episode 10 just really solidified for me that Darla is a beast. You know, she has gone through some things for sure, but the girl is not a fraud, okay? She is being as vulnerable and as humble and as transparent as she possibly can about her feelings, you know, and I think that's worth something. Um, so the episode opens with Ralph Angel driving the property in Dad's old truck and looking out over the land. You know, beautiful piece of property, thousands and thousands of acres. And he says, "Thanks, Pop." Right? Then we get to see him move Darla out of her trailer. You know, this radio trailer. He's moving her things, and it basically is just a bunch of trash bags. And she's happy. She's excited. This means she is officially going to move in with Ralph Angel. And, you know, this is what he wanted initially. And she wanted to do her own thing. And that was when he asked her to marry him, you know. So now she's going to try to make it all happen. And she tells him, I think we should get a front porch swing because, you know, we need to start to really truly make the place our own, right? And, you know, he's cool with all that. She finds a note in the car from Aunt Vi talking about, couples counseling, and she thinks it's a good idea. Ralph Angel kills the idea. He just snatches the idea out of out of the air and smashes it hard to the ground and stomps on it. I'm not doing no counsel. We don't need to do all that. You know, and Ralph Angel is kind of showing himself to be a little bit of a authoritarian, and if he's not careful, if it goes too far, it can be perceived as, um, at the very least, demonstrative, at the very, very most, um, verbally abusive. I mean, he's pretty harsh on her. I mean, he's a bit of a manipulator when it comes to getting things that he wants from her, and we've seen that. So I got my good eye on Ralph Angel, but it's okay because Darla got this. All right. Um, we see her uh, at the bridal store. She's shopping for a dress, and she's there with Charley, who is Ralph Angel's sister. And it's a really, really beautiful moment. I love that opening scene where Charley is walking by herself through a bevy of white dresses. It's really, really beautiful, and you can tell she's being nostalgic and she's contemplating some things. Um, Darla comes out of her dress and she looks beautiful, and she asks Charley, how do I look in this dress? And then, of course, Charley tells her. And there is a moment where in the story, that Charley has told her, uh, Darla kind of breaks a little bit, and she tells, in another moment of vulnerability, she tells Charley about the call to her parents, and she just wanted them to know she was doing better and that she was, sober for 2 years, and she wanted them to know she has a beautiful son and that she's going to marry her son's father, and they didn't answer. And Charley understood. She said, um, you feel like they're ashamed of you. And she said, yeah, she said, you know what? If you call them back and they never answer, you always have a family in us. And it is just a really, really good moment between Charley and Darla. And we see that same, tender moment on last episode between Aunt Vi and Darla, where they are continually trying to welcome her in, trying to show her that she's welcomed here. And I can see that she's sort of breaking down those walls that her drug abuse and all that stuff had built up, and they're accepting her in. And it's good for her. It's making her feel stronger and more powerful and more accepted, which is something she should truly be getting from her family. Meanwhile, she comes face to face with her past as Star. She's coming out of the store, and there is an ex John there who recognizes her, and he's calling her Star. Now, Ralph Angel is pumping gas, and he hears the whole exchange where the guy's like, "Hey, working." You know what I'm saying? I can put extra 10 on it for you. She was like, you got me mixed up with somebody else. He was like, I know that sweet A anywhere, And she's like, I don't know who you're talking about, right? She walks up, and Rabbi just said, who is that? She was like, I don't know, crazies. But she has got tears in her eyes and she is wiping them away. That should be apparent to him. He knows what's going on, but he takes her crazies thing and moves forward. Um, Later on, we see Darla trying to put little Blue to bed, and he is bouncing around. And shout out to Kenya too, because Kenya too is so excited um, about Darla coming to live with them forever and ever and ever. And he gets mom and dad inside his fort, and he says, Mom, you're going to stay with us forever and ever and ever? And she says, yeah. He says, I don't believe it. Dad, is that true? And Ralph Angel, not only did he get in there in that fort with her and Blue, and he is sullen and he is scowling and he is acting like a spoiled child. Like she can feel his, judgmental energy all over him, and he hesitates. And that just, oh, that hurt her so bad when he hesitated. Now, mind you, she has lost her job to help Ralph Angel. She has um, moved out of her home um, to come and stay with Ralph and live with Ralph Angel. Agreed to marry Ralph Angel, even though she told him she wanted to do it on her own. Every chance he gets, when she got that new job down with Charley, he didn't want her to do that. So like I said, if Ralph Angel is not careful, he is going to move to this really, really abusive place where he is holding her back, and instead of them growing together, it's gonna always be about what he wants if she don't put her foot down. And so finally when he answers, he just mumbles out, yeah. It's very hurtful. Later on when she gets into bed with him, and she reaches around, to snuggle up with him, and he pulls away from her, and she's like, "Okay, this is it. What gives? What's up?" And he says, "I just keep thinking about what you did. That man you saw today, that was a John, wasn't it?" And she was like, "I'm sorry. Why didn't you just tell me?" Well, tell you what. Tell you what. You already know what's up. You already know what's going on, and I'm working as hard as I can to get past stars past, the things that star, which was her, her name when she was out there on the street, strung out real bad, prostituting. And he just continues in with it. And she said, "You know what? I knew that you were going to be judgmental about this. I knew that you were going to judge me." He said, "But if you cannot stop punishing me, I will not marry you. I will not marry you." And it was a great moment because Darla has, she did this thing where she was strung out on drugs, and she was, prostituting herself to get the drugs and all of this, and she lost Blue, and she lost Ralph Angel, and she has even her parents, the borderlines, not knowing that she was gonna, truly be fully recovered. Because when people do drugs, they go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth in those streets. And to have them finally accept her and trust her, like she is working as hard as she can to be, quote unquote, a productive citizen, and she has been knocked down long enough. That's fine. The world's gonna do what they're gonna do, but here in this house, Ralph Angel, I need your love and support. And she tells him, "You was out there robbing." You know what I'm saying? And at the same time she was saying it, I was saying, I was like, "Oh really? Oh really? You trying to call her out on her past, and you left your son alone in the park?" Well, he wasn't alone. Technically, he was with Kenya, but you know what I'm saying. He was alone in the park while you go and rob a store at gunpoint, and you think you got some leeway to be coming against Dog? Boy, bye. You're spoiled and you're selfish, and I'm glad she gathered all of your edges. Ralph Angel, I really, really am. You need to get all that together because you turned into a little bit of an Ike. And I think Darla has decided she is not going to be your Tina Boo. Mm, okay. This was Charley's episode. She is our second MVP of this episode. Now, let me go ahead and tell you guys about Charley. Charley begins her day in power when she is at that dress store with Darla, and Darla asked her how she looked in that dress. Charley said, "Well, if I was my mother, I would be brutally, brutally honest." And she starts walking up to Darla, and then she starts to encircle her. And as she goes around and around, she's fluffing that dress, and she's telling about how mean and critical her mom was at her dress fitting. "You look pregnant." And she said, "And I was." It's a moment of vulnerability. It is a moment of honest vulnerability. She is feeling Darla's pain, and she is feeling Darla's shame, and she exchanges a testimony about what she went through to make Darla feel better. You guys, it is one of the most giving things you can do for a person is to share your story, to help them, to make them feel better. And it's also equally um, one of the most the worst things I think you can do is take a person's story and turn it against them. That's why I don't believe in repeating things that people say of this nature. She tells her I was pregnant, and my mom was ashamed of me. She didn't want everybody to know, think that I was having a shotgun wedding, you know. And she said it wasn't like that. Davis and I really, really loved each other, and it wasn't that type of relationship. But she couldn't get her mom to see that, and she tells Darla, she said, if you ask me how you look, I don't think you look anything less than stunning. It is a good moment because in between there, Darla had that moment where she broke and told her own story about her own mom and having called her and all of that. And her and Charley just connected that much more because Charley understood how it is to be a child who lives with their parents, um, the bar, the standard bar that their parents have set for them, and how it is so easy to feel ashamed or unaccomplished behind that standard being set for you. And so it was a really, really good moment. You know, like I said, Charley started her day out in power. Later, we see her sitting in her home, and her mom comes in, and she can kind of feel like a puzzled look on Charley's face, and she says, What's going on? What's happening? Are you still thinking about what your dad did with his will?" And she was like, "I just don't understand why he would do it." And she said, "Well, I mean, Lorna kind of tries to explain to her a little bit, and she says, Charley tells her, listen, a huge part of um, her plan, her business plan was tied to the farm. And uh, Lorna, her mom, she understands. She knew Ernest as well. She was like, Ernest changed his mind quite a bit. It doesn't help, but at the same time, she does encourage her, to think outside the box. You can still make this work, so on and so forth. So later on, we see Charley walking into what appears to be a country club restaurant. And of course, the first thing we notice is that all of the service people there are African Americans, and they have on these get ups, which I was just like, I don't have time for all that bull crap. It's so gone with the wind. And she goes out there, and they're actually on the patio, chilling, having drinks and dessert. And she was like, "Oh, I guess I missed the meeting." And he said, "Well, you finally showed up." She said, "I didn't hear about a time change." He said, "Well, I sent an email out to everybody." She said, "Well, funny, I didn't get it." She's talking to Sam Landry, right? And it's a whole cavalcade of other Caucasians there at the table, and one black woman who is a secretary of Sam Landry, and he doesn't really even speak to the woman. He doesn't even talk to the woman. He's not saying, "Go ahead and put this on my calendar, send me a reminder." He's not doing all that. He is just looking at her because she is not allowed to make eye contact. She is looking down, and she is frightened, and she is scared, and it is no different than being on that freaking plantation and hearing the crack of a whip and all the black people jump. He don't even tell her she got to get up and give her chair. He just looks at her and she scurries off. Okay, well, Charley notices all of this. Evidently, there is this crystal festival every year where the all the meals get together. This was a meeting about a meeting of all the meals, and they purposely excluded Charley out of it. Now, she didn't hightail and run. She didn't lose it and flip the table over and all of that. She kind of held it all together and tried to be as strong as she possibly could. Even though she was being wounded at every turn by every little comment, they would cut her off. They were being dismissive. They're supposed to be pulling these pictures of the what do they call it, crystal princess or something like that. They have this, like I said, the mills have this festival every year, and they pick a princess, right? And sugar queen. And they've got a ton of photos. They're all Caucasians, girl, and one photo of Kiki, and it's a beautiful photo. And Charley suggests her, and there's a white woman there that says she is not really, saying, Crystal, Sugar Queen material. And Charlie's like, okay. Like I said, Charlie started her day out in this tremendous power, and little by little, she feels kind of defeated. She's been thinking about what her dad did with the will. She's been thinking about how she felt when she walked into this meeting with Sam Landry and the other mill owners, and how she felt so dismissed. And I'm sure she feels a measure of being dismissed from her dad as well because he only left the farm and all the land to Ralph Angel. So her mom kind of doesn't understand. Of course, she's a white woman. She's not going to understand, but as easily. I do like what she said. And I like Charlie's reaction to it, which Charlie said, they were being so dismissive. I didn't exist. I didn't have any value. None of the black maid, the butler, the secretary, or Kiki. None of us had any value. We were all dismissed. We were all, devalued through the whole process. And her mom was like, "What are you talking about?" Um, you know, you don't let that stop you. I raised you better than that. And she told her, I looked over your books and you don't have enough cane coming in. And are you only doing grinding for black farmers? And Charlie's like, yeah, when I started out, only the black farmers would help me. I mean, would bring their sugar cane. And she says, well, the only color I see or the only color that matters is money. You got to figure out a way to get this money in this mill if you want this mill to be successful. It's easier said than done. I like the thoughts, the process behind it. Pull yourself up out the bootstraps. You know what I'm saying? Don't get down on yourself. Don't let these people get you down. I understand all that. I love the fact that Charlie took um, what my mama says, eat the meat and spit out the bones. Okay, the meat was for her was get up, um, and pull yourself together and figure out a way to get around this whole situation, okay? And spit out the bones. Her mama is never really truly going to understand. She can have empathy and she can try and uh, relate to some degree, but she'll never understand what it's like to be a black woman in a room full of white people and to be so devalued and so disrespected. She will never, ever know. So I was proud of Charlie. And Lorna also lets her know that Vi had come over while she was at the office, right? Now, just a sidebar, Vi and Lorna don't get along. They had an agreement that she would leave New Orleans and she would not come back, okay? And Lorna tells her, I'm back because that was before when my children before my children were here and they needed me. She said, I don't care nothing about your family needing me. What I care about is mine. You got enough money to bring your children from all over the world. Um, Here is where all my people are, and I can't have you upset in Nova. She's already lost her father for the second time after you took him and ran off with him the first time. Oh, okay. So Lorna stole Ernest Bordelon from Nova and Ralph Angel's mama and married him and took him away and married him. And I think in that process that Nova and their mama died, but I don't want to run ahead of the story. So when Charlie finds out that that Vi saw uh, Lorna there, Charlie goes over to see Aunt Vi, and Aunt Vi is sitting in her little parlor area, the smoking parlor. And she's looking at her computer and she's looking at fibromyalgia. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Her vision is blurry. She hasn't passed out as far as we know, but her vision is really blurry. I was like, I don't know what's going on with Aunt Vi. What's happening? It can't just be fibromyalgia. Not that that is minimal at all. It is a debilitating rheumatoid arthritis type illness. But division by division, what's going on with that? Anyway, I love it the fact that Charlie comes in humble. And she apologizes. I'm sorry I didn't tell you about Lorna being here. I wasn't expecting her to be here that long. It's humble because Charley has come from this place where she was a lot like her mom. She's not like her mom, but she was behaving. Some of her behaviors were like her mom. This sort of will deal with it kind of attitude. That's what she had first season and first part of second season. But we see Charley growing and changing and coming into herself a little bit more and just, you know what I'm saying, just deciding who it is and what it is she wants to be outside of a mother and a wife and a daughter. You know what I'm saying? Who really Charley is. And she apologizes off the rip to Aunt Vi. And I tell you what, it said a lot to me. And Aunt Vi said, you didn't even think about your siblings. And she said, I didn't know if she was going to stay that long. I wasn't planning for her to stay that long. And I'm sorry. You know, I would never do anything to hurt you or hurt this family. I love y'all. Y'all are my family. And she said, you came by the office, but you didn't tell me what you want. Y'all, hold on, wait a minute, y'all. Aunt Vi said, I need your help. She said, I got an offer and I think I'm going to take it. They want to put my pies in the grocery store. And Charley is so excited for Aunt Vi. It's not like, oh my God, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. It's not like that. It's just a moment where she like, you doing it too, Aunt Vi. You finding your own way. You following your own star. You forging your own way. And prior to this, Charley tells her everything that was going on with her mom, with the Landrys and the Sugar Queen Festival and all of this stuff. And Aunt Vi just gives it to her straight, no chaser. Okay, you grown. Ah, mm. You smart, okay, and you're better than all of them, them ninjas. Okay, find a way. Find a way to get what it is you want. Okay. Later on, when Charley is talking to Micah, and she sees how enamored Micah is with Kiki, she mentions the that Kiki put in for Sugar Queen, and Micah tells her she puts in for it every year just as a kind of push against the machine or rail against the machine. She knows they're not gonna pick her, but she does it anyway, and it's a thought for Charley. And so Charley tells him, you know what we're gonna do? Ooh, you guys, I was so proud. Ooh, I was so proud of her. She said we're gonna have our own fall festival, a crystal festival just for black folks, boo. Okay? And we're gonna pick our own sugar queen. All right. They don't want to let us in. That's fine. That's fine. Why are we always trying to fit in to what they give us and take those crumbs? No, ma'am. We're going to do our own thing. Oh, I said, Charley, if you don't come through, boo, if you don't do this thing, mama, okay? Oh, Darla and Charley both gave me so much power and so much energy throughout this whole episode. Shout out to my two shining stars, which was Blue and Micah. Micah, because after um you know he and Kiki had worked hard all day on Aunt Nova's project, cleaning up all the old junk and stuff in a particular area, and and getting rid of the stagnant water. They go back to Davis's condo, and they're there alone, and she wants to take a hot shower, not right then and there, but she was just like, I can't do nothing until I get me a hot shower. And he was like, why don't you take one? We take one together. And she was like, excuse me? Michael, I'm a virgin. Okay. And I'm not trying to devalue myself. I'm not trying to get that part of me until I am absolutely positively sure. So I don't know what you think this is, but I'm not that kind of girl. And Micah immediately apologized. And he said, I just want to be with you, whatever you want to do. I didn't want to make any assumptions. And he said, I'm sorry. I didn't even ask you if you wanted to come back here and be alone at this house, at this space with me. And I should have asked you, and I'm sorry. It's a good moment. It's a good moment. Then they sit down and do what kids should be doing when they hanging out together. You know what I'm saying? Just laughing and being silly. He pretends, he tries to braid her hair. She tries to show him it's real, real cute. So that's one of my shining star moments. My other shining star moment goes out to Little Blue, you guys. I'm going to tell y'all something. Y'all ain't going to make me shout. I am not going to do it. I will run in this mug, okay? The fact that Blue has accepted Kenya too, knowing that Kenya 1 was so brutally murdered. And Kenya 2 was passed off as a what do you call that? Imposter. He has accepted Kenya too and brought her into the family. And the fact that his own daddy cannot accept his mama. Oh, when they both got dirt on their hands. Okay, shout out to Blue because Kenya was more excited to see Darla move in for good than anybody. And I was here for it, y'all. I was here for it. Shout out to the forgiveness of a child. Oh, my, my, my. My, 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 my. That will not preach, I tell you what. Okay? This was a really, really good episode, you guys. I'm not gonna hold you guys too long. As you can see, it's a lot of scuttlebutt in the background. We are excited about our cruise. There is a current tropical storm pending, but we're not even finna worry about. We ain't finna worry about all that, okay? This was a good episode with Nova too, you guys. We're not gonna get too much into Nova because, as y'all know, Nova and Dr. Romance are going hot and heavy. Her girlfriend has already told her she don't need to mess that up. And Dr. Romance is on his way to a conference. He don't want to leave. She don't want him to leave. Now she going to Atlanta when he get back. She gonna meet him in Atlanta, which is where he is from. And he gives her a key. He said, you gonna let yourself in, okay? And I'll see you when I get there. And gives her a nice tender kiss. I said, Nova, if you know like I know. Girl, if you don't like I know, my, that little magazine they had, I was like, rewind. That's all I got for you guys. You tell me what you think about this episode. Oh my gosh, it was so good. What do you guys think about this format? I think I'm just going to start pulling out my MVPs and just kind of talking about the episode surrounding those MVPs. That behavior of Ralph Angels can go real, real bad, real, real fast if he don't get that junk together. Okay, we're going to see next week him sitting with that same sullen, moody, spoiled child attitude as she drags him off to couples counseling. If Ralph Angel ain't careful, he gonna mess it all up. And in the beginning, when he was talking about thank you to Papa, I was like, Papa probably gave you that land to grow you up, is what he did, because that land will kick your butt, smash you hard to the ground. It can also be your greatest joy. Okay, you gonna sink or you gonna swim on that land as a farmer. So I could see maybe that's one of the reasons why Papa Bordelon gave him that land. What did you guys think about Charley this episode, you guys? When she said that bit about we doing our own thing, I was like, you better work, Charley. You better do this thing and take this country by storm, Mama. The revolution will not be televised, okay? Okay, honeybees, y'all remember to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Give me a thumbs up and let's talk about it down below. Okay, until next time, honeybees. Mwah.